Hello everyone, welcome to Circadian Chess. In this video, I will be showing you a game I played against Isabel bot with black pieces, and so here we go. The game starts with e4, I go d6, she plays d4, I play g6, knight c3, and bishop g7, and f4. Then I go knight to f6, just king's Indian defense. Kind of the chess.com says it's Austrian attack. Alright, so she plays knight to f3, developing the knight. I go bishop to g4, pinning the knight to the queen. Now she goes s3 to get rid of the pin, so I have to take the knight. She takes back with the queen. Now I develop my knight and go knight to c6. Now she attacks my knight. I go knight to b4, threatening this fork of the king and the rook. Now she defends it by playing bishop to d3. Bishop is guarding this pawn, so I cannot take with the knight, and I cannot fork. Now I take the bishop because I think bishops are better than knights, so it's a good trade-off. Now she takes with the pawn. I take the center by going e5. She takes the pawn. I take back. She castles. Now here I blundered because as you can see, the knight is in the line of the queen, and if she goes bishop to g5, then the bishop and the rook and the queen, three pieces of her will be attacking my knight, and only two of mine will be defending, and thus I am losing, as I also cannot move a knight in that case, because then the bishop will take my queen. So I blundered and just castled. Instead I should have gone to queen d7 and just shouldn't have allowed this spin, or maybe have gone to h6 to not allow this bishop g5 pin, but I just went blind for a second there, and she played bishop g5. Now I went queen d6 to threaten taking this pawn and kind of attacking on the other side of the board. Now she takes. I check to take this pawn. Now she goes king to h2 to get rid of the check, move away from the check, sorry. And then I take the bishop. She takes back. Now I can't trade off the queens because I am down the material, so I take the pawn. Now as my queen was threatening the knight, she protects her knight by playing rook c1. I go b5 to go b4 afterwards, so that her knight moves somewhere, and the knight can't guard this pawn, a2 pawn, and I can just take this e2 pawn with my queen, so at least I have two pawns for a piece, for a knight, sorry. She takes my e5 pawn, which is a very big mistake, because now I can go b4. She can't move her knight to anywhere, because then my queen will take her queen. So she takes the pawn, I take the knight. Now she takes the pawn, I take this pawn. Now it's kind of equal material, but she is winning because she has a pawn up, and also she has center pawns which are just too fast. So she goes queen f6, I go queen to g2, threatening to take this pawn. She attacks my queen as well as defends this pawn. but I have to keep in mind of this pawn. So I go queen to b4 to check to just prevent this pawn from going. When we, afterwards I can go rook d8 and just attack this pawn. So she pushes the pawn. I go rook d8 to attack this pawn as two of my pieces are attacking and only one is protecting the pawn. She goes pawn to e4 protecting the pawn. Now I go queen to d4 to just keep an eye on this pawn from moving forward. She attacks my queen. I go here just to keep an eye on this file. Now she goes rook g4, probably some trying to go some mate tactic. I go queen to e6, trying to trade off the queens. She does not want to trade the queens, she just goes rook to f1. I trade the queens. She takes back. I go rook to e8 to threaten this pawn. Now she protects this pawn by going pawn to d4. I go a4 to just march my pawn to the position. She goes rook to f4 to attack this pawn as two rooks are attacking this pawn. Now here injustice to go rook d7 to prevent taking this pawn, but in the game I thought I should just promote this pawn as much fast as possible. She takes the pawn. Now I go rook to f8 to trying to trade off the rooks because the king is too far away from this pawn. If I can trade off the rooks, then the king can't reach and I can just promote and win. So that's what's happened. I trade off the rooks and I just bring the king closer. I just promote the pawn and then she tries to promote her over more, but my king is on time. I take and I promote. Now I gobble all the pawns of her very quickly, and then I try to promote the other pawn, this h7 pawn, by going h5 and checking h4. Then she goes king h1. Now there is a mate in 2. After I go pawn to h3 and queen g2 check. So I go pawn to h3. The only square she can go to is h2, and then I checkmate with queen g2. So this was a game. It was a good game. I lost my knight in the early game, but was able to just win the game afterwards by uh, winning the knight of hers afterwards. So it was a good game. Uh, it is claimed that she is good in endgames, but I defeated her in endgame. So it's a proud win for me. And I hope you like this video, and also subscribe if you like the content. Thank you for watching. I will see you in next video.